the top 10 first basemen in all of baseball heading into 2022, I have my selections. Let's get into it. What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And as I said in the open, today we will be discussing my picks for the top 10 first basemen right now in all of Major League Baseball. Now, this is a personal list. MLB does their list every single season. But let's get into my number 10. As we get into number 10 on my list, it is a personal choice with that of Joey Votto. Now, some may see Votto as a past his prime candidate, but I still think he is one of the best in baseball. I think going into the 2022 campaign, his eye at the plate is still going to be at an elite level. And I think, therefore, when you look at what he's going to be capable of providing a team like the Cincinnati Reds, a lifelong career Red, I think that Votto is going to approach this season with as much dedication as he did his very first. This is going to allow Joey Votto to really have a separation, the likes of what we haven't seen through most people heading into his age 38 season. Yes, that seems like it's going to be a very big hindrance compared to some of the younger players on this list and in the game, but I think that his ability and his eye at the plate is really going to be his calling card. You add that in with a slightly above average defender, in my opinion, and now you have a complete package. Joey Votto is my number 10. As we get into number 9 on my list, I think that this is more a projection pick than anything else, but I think that Rhys Hoskins is going to find himself amongst the top elite echelon in the first base market. I think when you look at what Hoskins can provide a team like the Philadelphia Phillies, it is going to be somebody who can consistently hit in the middle to lower half of the order. I think that if Philadelphia can position him properly in that lineup, this is going to be a guy who has 30 home run power potential, not to mention being able to drive in 100 plus runs for a Philadelphia Phillies team that can be a dominant club in that National League East division. I think that there's a wide open market right now for the Phillies, and most notably for Rhys Hoskins, to really have a breakout campaign in 2022. Therefore, Rhys Hoskins makes number 9 on my list. As we get into number 8 on my list, it is another stalwart of this position, and it is Brandon Belt of the San Francisco Giants. I think that Belt had an absolutely wonderful season in 2021, and while 2022 may not find him completely following up those numbers exactly in the same way, I think he's still going to have a very reliable season. I think going into this 2022 campaign with the universal DH included in the National League, it is going to allow the Giants to kind of offset some of his days and allow him to remain even more healthy. A healthy Brandon Belt is always going to be a productive Brandon Belt, and I think that's why he makes number 8 on my list. Now, as we get into number 7 on my list, it's going to be the very versatile Max Muncy of the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think that Muncy has the ability to kind of play all over for the Dodgers, but most notably at first base. I think that his ability and his underratedness, in my opinion, is actually what has him a little bit lower on this countdown. I think that for some baseball pundits, Max Muncy may find his way even higher on this list. I think that there's a strong market at first base, and to me, Max Muncy is among the upper echelon elite at the position. That being said, I think that with his ability and his versatility, that can kind of play back a little bit to his defensive metrics, constantly moving around. I think if the Dodgers were to supplant him at first base completely for the entire season, he could very easily find his way up much higher on this countdown next year. Now, as we get to number 6 on my list, it is the absolute powerhouse polar bear, Pete Alonso from the New York Mets. I think that Alonso is going to build on his absolutely phenomenal rookie campaign with another potential 50-plus home run season. I think that he has that kind of ability. And while I think the league adjusted to him last year, I think he's going to find a way to make those adjustments back. Going into the 2022 campaign, I think that this is going to be a player that finds himself being able to rely on some of the more help that he has now and protection he has in that New York Mets lineup. I also think that there's going to be an opportunity for Pete Alonso to really stand out from the rest of the pack in the first base market because of that power potential. Having guys like Francisco Lindor and Starling Marte getting on base ahead of him is going to allow him to see more pitches that he is absolutely going to feast on. Therefore, Pete Alonso is definitely on this top 10 first baseman list. Now, as we get into the top 5, we begin with a consistent threat each and every single season from this position, Jose Abreu. I think that the White Sox first baseman is absolutely going to put up another stellar campaign. Going into this new 2022 campaign, the White Sox are going to be my favorites in the American League Central. And I think that Jose Abreu is going to be one of the reasons why. His consistent at-bats each and every single day, each and every single game for the White Sox allow them to have a level of consistency and reliability in that lineup that they build around. To me, Jose Abreu is one of the most consistent and yet underrated first basemen in all of Major League Baseball. I really think there's an opportunity for Jose Abreu in 2022 to follow up his MVP caliber campaign from 2020. This is going to be a very big year for the White Sox, and to me, Jose Abreu is going to be a consistent contributor in that. As we get into number 4 on my list, it is that of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Now, while some may see Vladdy as more of a DH, I think that he is going to stay planted at first base for the Blue Jays. This is going to be a consistent and dominant threat each and every single season. Vladimir could have won and had an argument for winning the MVP in 2021, and very easily is going to follow that up, in my opinion, in 2022. Vlad Jr. is going to be one of the biggest forces and most consistent threats and scary threats in all of Major League Baseball in 2022. Therefore, it's very easy to place him so high on this list, even though defensively he is going to be a bit more of a liability than some of the other names that we've mentioned. I also think that his bat is going to obviously outweigh his defensive lapses. Therefore, he makes number 4 on my list. Now, as we get into the top 3, we begin with the St. Louis Cardinals first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt. This has been one of the best and most consistent first basemen throughout the last several years in Major League Baseball. Going into this new 2022 campaign, I think the Cardinals are going to have a lot to fight for, and Paul Goldschmidt is going to be in the midst of that fight. This is going to be, without question, one of the better players in all of Major League Baseball, not just on the first base side of things. Going into this new campaign, I think that he's going to be even more comfortable now with his Cardinals teammates and find himself producing at the Paul Goldschmidt level that we expect him to be at each and every single season. Therefore, number 3 on my list almost seems kind of low. As we look at number 2 on my list, it is that of Matt Olson. At the time of this recording, Matt Olson is still a member of the Oakland A's. I think by the trading deadline, that will no longer be the case. But that will not diminish the fact that this offensive and defensive powerhouse is without question one of the best players in the game, not just at first base. The Gold Glove caliber first baseman is capable of hitting you 40-plus home runs without breaking a sweat. I think that if you were to move him out of that expansive ballpark in Oakland and put him into a more friendly confines, whether that be Yankee Stadium or someplace else, this would absolutely help his career blossom even more potentially. And in my opinion, he's already on the cusp of being one of the best players in all of Major League Baseball, amongst the top echelon of first basemen without question. So that being said, I think that Matt Olson is clearly the number 2 player on this list. Now, I think it's very clear now that we get to the number 1 spot that it is Freddie Freeman. Coming off of a World Series appearance with the Atlanta Braves, Freddie Freeman is without question one of the best players in all of Major League Baseball. Going into this new 2022 campaign as a free agent currently, Freddie is going to sign on with a new team, in my opinion. I think that all signs indicate that he will not be back with the Atlanta Braves at the time of this recording. Going into this new campaign, he is going to be bringing his talents to a squad that is going to absolutely need his help. Defensively, this is one of the best first basemen in baseball right now, and offensively, this is one of the best players in all of baseball. I think that his ability, even though as he's getting older, has started to grow and mature into another level. I think his eye at the plate, not to mention his leadership capabilities for any ball club, are going to be absolutely paramount to a team's success. Therefore, Freddie Freeman is without question the number 1 first baseman in the game. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your feelings on this down in the comment section below. Who are the top 10 first basemen in all of Major League Baseball heading into the 2022 campaign? Let me know your list down in the comment section below, and we can discuss it further. I think that with these lists, these top 10 right now lists, the personal biases do come in and play a heavy factor. But I want to hear your thoughts on my list as well as what yours would look like. Let me know all of these things and we can keep that discussion going. As always, keep it locked into the entire GLMG family with WeSibs, the Granny Geek Show, and of course here on the Baseball Banter Broadcast. For sticking around all the way to the end, I want to thank you guys and let you know that if you head over to baseballbanterbroadcast.com, you can use the promo code BANTER to save 5% off your order. Keep it locked in all season long as we continue to bring you the latest news, notes, and my personal thoughts, theories, and opinions on the game of Major League Baseball. Peace.